Definitely a Mint fan. Saw a bunch of her stuff at Holiday Matsuri last year. Oh yeah, she's a sweet girl. God bless her. She, like Doki, they've both come so far and have done so well for themselves in the wake of their corpo days. I think they're doing even better now than they were before. I believe both of them came from Niji Sanji? I mean, we know Doki Bird was selling Tatsuki. I'm trying to remember what Mint was before that. But yeah, glad they got out of there. Glad they're doing well for themselves. It seems like they're more able to be themselves now. Oh, that's right. Yeah, she was Pomu Rainpuff. Yeah. Sweet girls, those two. Absolutely did not deserve the poor treatment that they got during their Niji days. Especially Doki. My god. That one could have ended so tragically. And nearly did. God bless her fans, though. The Dragoons. The way they just absolutely revolted and staged an insurrection and just said, yeah, you know what? Fuck Niji Sanji. We're going to pave the way and we're all steering people over to back to Doki Bird. We're taking everything that's not bolted to the ground and we're leaving. And good on them. Agreed. Still a Niji fan for the talents. Yeah, some of the talents. I think there's a lot of those talents that, I don't know. Some talents that really don't need support from anyone just because they're not good people. They're just as poisonous and toxic as the people running Niji. So I would say, yes, support the talents, but be selective in which talents you support. As for me these days, I don't have much use for, not even much time to indulge in watching Corpo VTubers. Even the ones from Hololive. I mainly stick to the indie talents. I mean, Mayoshi's a Kirsha and Leaflet, so mostly just watch their streams these days. But there's still some really good Holo-en talents left. Fuumoko, they're absolute darlings, those two. Takanashi Kiara, Mori Calliope, those are two I still like to see some of their content. Kiara, I noticed with a recent clip, seems like her voice has gone through a lot of changes. Just sounded a bit different. Maybe she was taken ill at the time and she was sort of powering through. But I don't know. Her voice sounds a bit different. Then again, she's been through a lot. Yeah, I can't support everyone anyway. Indies get most of my focus, yeah. These days, it's just better to be an indie. Better to support the indies. Just how it is. Just how it is. The Armchair's been making an argument for corpos, and I like and trust him a lot. We need both. Yeah, I suppose there's a place for both. I just personally tend to bristle at the heavy-handed controls that they place on so many of their talents. Doing that in the name of corporate sponsorships. I think there's far too much sensitivity over their hurt feelings. I sort of like back in my radio days, everyone walking on eggshells because they're afraid of sponsors pulling out. And that's no way to do business, in my view. If a sponsor's going to be that skittish, and if they are going to jump ship at the earliest possible convenience, I think most of the time they're really just cheapskates that are looking to get out of paying you the money that they're legally obligated to pay you for advertisements or for that sponsorship. I think that's the real reason with a lot of them. They just don't want to... They just want to get free labor out of people and not have to pay money, which those sorts of people can fuck all the way off. But also, if you are that skittish that you really will jump ship when someone says even the slightest perceived controversial thing, I'm just at an age where I have very little to no patience for other people's bullshit. And so I would just say to them, it's like, all right, get the fuck out. We don't want you anyway. We need more loyalty in the business world, beyond the exchange of money for goods and services. Mercenary culture is not sustainable long term. We need people and organizations that are basically willing to tell the Kerens to fuck off and just keep doing your thing. Because the haters are going to hate no matter what you do. They'll find a reason. They're always looking for the reason. You know, I've got no patience for people like that. I've got no patience for people who are just so eager to jump ship. The minute someone has even a lukewarm take, that is just common sense. I haven't seen the clip, but actually I think I have. There's a clip of Asmongold talking about how we need to hit these people harder, these cancel culture types. They keep trying to and getting people cancelled and getting sponsorships taken away from people because they know they can get away with it. We've got to strike back. I'm sure everyone by now knows about what happened with Rev and Straub's merch deal with Advanced GG, and come to find out a few days ago, Celestium had a plushie deal with some company that I have almost intentionally forgotten the name of. Yeah, Makeship, thank you. Ah, Action Bastard, welcome in. Good to see you, how are you? I was prepared, and actually what happened with Advanced GG and Makeship with both Rev and Straub and also Celestium was part of the reason why I was up late last night, because I was actually doing some research and a little bit of show prep, to which it's an occupational hazard chat that I've known since my radio days, that you can do all this show prep and you probably won't even get to half of it. It's just cost of doing business in this realm that we're in. Makeship didn't have the decency to even tell Celestium what it was that she said that was so controversial that they decided to cancel her whole merch deal for plushies. But within less than 24 hours, I would say that she has been made whole again, because my Oshi Leaflet, our dear lovely Leaflet, apparently called up Celestium, and they worked something out to where it appears that there's a Fumo plushie in the works now from Angel Sword Studios, which is Leaflet's company. So we can look forward to that. And Leaflet, not really interested in making money on the thing. She just wants to do it as kind of a fuck you to Makeship, because she was that pissed off. Which, I mean, good on her. If this is the sort of thing that results from righteous anger, I'm here for it. I was relaxing with Wifey Wife for a good minute. Both of us fell asleep after dinner, now I'm awake. I know that feeling. I had quite a hearty meal myself for dinner. I had reservations at a nice little Tex-Mex place. Unless stuck to a strict schedule, you can't get to everything, but it's okay. There's always the next show. That's true. So I'm holding off on a lot of the hard news for tomorrow with Damien and Megalum. Which, by the way, us coming up again tomorrow around noon or 1 p.m. Central Time. So look forward to that. Yeah, I felt like Offkai's dealing with Kirsha. Yeah, that was also one of the reasons why I'll never go to Offkai. But not only that, it's in California. And of no interest to go to California for anything. Fumos are cool, though. I have thought about, at some point in the future, getting a Fumo plushie made of myself. I don't think I'm quite there yet in terms of my career, in terms of my following, or anything like that. Leaflet, Celestium, all of them, they have significantly higher follow counts than I do. They've got a lot more people tuned into their streams than I do. I've still got some growing to do. Funny how so many of these companies keep shooting themselves in the foot. Yeah, a lot of them, in practical terms, they're quite allergic to money. They are more concerned with the heckler's veto and appeasing that than they are just making money or using the heckler's veto as just more free content, just more free publicity for them. It was incredibly cowardly, and I honestly hope that both Advanced GG and Makeship, I hope their business fails. I hope the whole thing comes crashing down and they both go out of business, because that's what they fucking deserve for the way that they treated Rev, Straub, and now Celestium. I am glad to see that in spite of this, Rev and Straub are doing alright, and especially Celestium was made whole in less than 24 hours from all of this. And from what I can tell, the Fumo, or the plushie that Leaflet's got planned with Celestium, is going to be even better. than what she was going to get with Makeship. I'm glad that things are being made right, that where one door closes, another one opens. I was prepared to offer a sort of nuanced take on Celestium in particular, taking you all back in time to an event that happened, which we talked about it on stream. This was late last year, or second half of last year. Don't know if any of you remember a little app that I think has just... I don't even know if it still exists anymore or if it's still in use by anyone. Does anyone remember the app Irium? It's apparently some sort of VTubing app where they had certain people in early access content creator programs. Does not ring a bell yet. I'm not surprised. They had a bit of a cancel culture thing going on with one particular VTuber named Johnny Ryushi. Johnny's a Christian VTuber, and he had this meme that he put out about Pride Month, where it was just kind of an adaptation of the old Batman and Robin slap meme, reminding people that pride is a sin. And for that, he got kicked out of the creator program with this Irium app. Now, as we all know, Irium is a literal fucking who of an app. Nobody cares about it. Nobody's watching anything on there. I don't even know if it exists anymore. It was a bit flash in the pan for a little while, but as predicted, I think its days are done. It's had its day. Strobe still streams on Irium, I think. Does she? I wouldn't know, because I don't have those apps on my phone. A lot of people don't. They're highly niche, and if you want to grow as a VTuber and as a streamer, you're not going to do it on piddly little apps like that. Real growth comes from streaming on platforms like YouTube and Twitch and Kick and Rumble, and even X to a certain extent. Irium is mobile-only, talking-only streams, yeah, so it hinders your growth. It's sort of like what Reality was back in the day. I don't even know if anybody remembers that app. Don't know anybody who still streams on that one either. Which, word of advice, those of you in the audience who are maybe thinking about becoming a streamer or becoming a VTuber, don't bother with apps like that. It's not going to go anywhere. The audience that you may possibly build up there will never transfer it over to other streaming platforms. They're not going to follow you. People are too much of a creature of habit that they don't like change. I give him shit about it, but it's all in good fun. Phalanx, who's here in the audience, always checks in rather early. Not even an act of Congress can get him to redeem first in Twitch, and even if I were to pay him, I don't think he would go over and watch me over on Kick or any of the other platforms. He is a creature of habit. He will watch me on Twitch, mostly lurk, and he will never redeem first. Not even an act of Congress could get him to do that. Much of the audiences with streaming platforms are very much like Phalanx. They will not follow you to other platforms. They are creatures of comfort and habit. They like their comforts, and they like their habits, and they have zero incentive to change. So don't even bother with platforms like Reality and Irium if they still exist. Yeah, for that little innocuous, almost just room temperature take with a meme that is almost as old as the oldest of us in the audience, Johnny Ryushi got kicked off of a creator program or something like that, or some sort of early access program with Irium. I was one of the few people to defend him. At the time, Strobe, Celestium, a lot of other Christian streamers kind of threw him under the bus. I thought it was incredibly unfair for them to do that. And I think I even said at one point to the effect of, just you wait, they're going to come for you as well. In many cases, they already had. The cancel culture mob had come for people like Strobe and Celestium already. And they still didn't quite learn the lesson back then that we all need to be banding together and circling the wagons. But instead, they decided to go along with the cancel culture mob and sort of throw Johnny under the bus, which I thought was incredibly unfair at the time. And so when I saw what was happening to Celestium with her deal for the plushie. On the one hand, I was quite glad that she was being made whole again, because she didn't deserve that. She didn't deserve to lose a merch deal like that for... We'll never know what the exact reasons were. Thankfully, Makeship is refunding everyone's money and not just keeping it, which I think would be highly illegal, but not like that's stopped anyone before. But I kept thinking in the back of my mind, wait a minute, what about Johnny? You know, where are the people who are trying to make him whole after what happened to him? Because what happened to him was kind of a small-scale version of what happened to Straub, what happened to Rev, what happened to Celestium. You know, where's his restitution? Where's his justice? The question came to me of, well, is it because he's a male streamer, so all of a sudden his voice doesn't count as much? I was up until about 3 or 4 o'clock this morning digging through old tweets. This is one of the things I hate about X, is that you cannot do some sort of timecode search for old tweets, or if you can, they don't make it easy. But found Johnny's X account, found all of his streaming platforms that he's on, which, by the way, Johnny Ryusi, why don't we go ahead and give him a shout out over on Twitch. Let me open this up here. I'm sorry to seem so scatterbrained, chat, but yeah, everyone, please go follow Johnny Ryushi. I was quite surprised when I was looking through some old streams of his, fairly recent streams actually, that, I mean, not only is he doing better than me over on the Twitch side in terms of follow count, which got on him, one of his most recent collab partners, Celestium VT. I don't know if Celestium will ever see this or not. It doesn't really matter. Thought about messaging her this. I don't know if I will or not. But it sort of answered my own question of, what about Johnny? What about him? Who's helping him to make him whole, give him a leg up? Well, it turns out that Celestium, and I'm sure a lot of other people, have been lending him a hand, even in recent days, weeks, months even, collabing together on stream, and I'm sure some other things too. He would have been so easy to just forget about in the news cycle and move on as though he never even existed. But I think it really speaks something quite positive to Celestium's character, that she reaches out like that and helps people, helps to lift up fellow content creators in the space, especially male streamers. We so often are just forgotten about and not even acknowledged. And some of us are some of the hardest working people in the space, which is not to say that there aren't hard-working women in the space. It's just that so many people want to focus on the girls in the VTubing space and don't want to focus on the boys. But good on Celestium for never forgetting about Johnny and doing what she can to help him. Because Lord knows the easiest thing in the world would have been just to forget about him, move on, even pretend he doesn't even exist. And come to find out Johnny is doing better than ever. I suppose you might be asking, Rex, why do you care so much? You know, why do you don't even know Johnny? And you're right, I don't. Johnny and I have never spoken before, we've never communicated, we have never collabed together. I don't know if we ever will. I think it'd be fantastic if we did. He seems like a nice lad. I'd be happy to collab with him anytime. It's just, I guess you can just call it the lads code. We lads have got to stick together, and we've got to help each other out, and we've got to lift each other up. Maybe that's why I care so much. Maybe it's the old man in me who sees rising young star and just wants the best for him, because I was young like that once too. And I made my own share of mistakes. Ultimately, in that whole saga, Johnny did bend the knee, and I think that was a mistake. But he's done all right for himself. He's bounced back from that. Bending the knee doesn't necessarily have to be the death knell of one's career. One can realize the mistake, come back from it, and commit to not make the same mistake ever again. He had nothing to apologize for. He did nothing wrong. I'm glad people are seeing that now. And if not necessarily acknowledging that, at least through words, at least they're doing that through their actions. So I had prepared to have all that show prep go in an entirely different direction, but I guess that's why it pays to do a bit of research, so you don't make an arse out of yourself. The whole story actually has a happy ending after all. Johnny Ryushi doing very well for himself, thriving as a streamer now on Twitch, and I believe also on... I think he might upload some content to YouTube. I'm not quite sure about that. And he is collaborating with someone who made the mistake that even I called out in the beginning. Someone who... I still think they threw him under the bus, but and that was a mistake for them to do that. But Celestium has since mended fences with Johnny, from the looks of it. I mean, obviously they have enough of a professional friendship to where they collab with each other. I don't pretend to know the intricacies of what's going on behind the scenes, but seems like some fences have been mended, and the two of them, at least on some professional level, are good friends. And I think that's all to the good. Because we as VTubers, we as Christians, we as people in the right-wing spheres, need to be circling the wagons, rallying forces to defend and support one another, and doing just that. We need to be defending each other, supporting each other, and coming together to lift each other up. I'm glad to see people doing that now. And I think that is probably the biggest thing that I can most passionately compliment Celestium on, is that she is using her position to help others. Not just to evangelize and to advance the kingdom of God, which of course as a Christian should be priority number one, but also helping fellow Christian VTubers and streamers and content creators, and helping to lift each other up and build that community and build that ecosystem, that sort of alternative ecosystem to everything else that's out there. And especially doing what I interpret as an about-face and going back and doing what she can to help make Johnny whole and help him to grow. My respect for her has only increased tremendously because of that. When it would have been so easy and so convenient to just forget about him, go off, do her own thing, she didn't do that. She offers others a hand up, rather than pulling the ladder up like so many other content creators and streamers and even VTubers do. So good on Celestium. I doff my cap, tip my hat, and raise my glass to her. She's done a really good thing. And just that alone, like I said, has just... my respect for her has increased tremendously. But that was something that was... it was on my mind pretty much all day yesterday. And it was something... it was that thread that I just had to pull and follow, even though it kept me up till like 3-4 o'clock in the morning. I had to know. It was like a dog with a bone. I had to know how the story turned out. And yeah, actually there was a happy ending to that one, chat. And I'm glad, because we've got enough things that with sad endings in this intractable world. It was time for us to maybe get something resembling a happy ending. So, good on Celestium, good on Johnny, and absolutely we wish them well. I'm actually in Johnny's Discord server now. I may just end up reaching out to him, asking him for a collab. I've been wanting to collab with him ever since that whole row with Irium. So yeah, perhaps now is the time to make that happen. Anyway, let me get caught up on chat. Let's see here. Where do we go? I'm so far behind on chat. I've supported some Uwu Market plush projects, see how they turn out. Yeah, Uwu Market tends to take a while to get their things manufactured and delivered. It's still a decent company, though. Let's see. Gamer Subs had a leftard threaten to bomb their booth at a con, didn't cave. Yeah, that's why if I do get those sorts of drinks, I usually go with Gamer Subs these days. Plus, you also get more for your money. Plus, they mix well. And they don't taste like arse. Holy Man 556, welcome in. Hello, Rex. Munya. Munya! Karma do work like that, it do. Leaflet is crazy, by the way. She is. Well, she's the good sort of crazy. It's the crazy we all know and love. I don't know if anybody has been following. She has started posting more of her AI music stuff. Let me see if I can I've got some of the things up here on Spotify. No, actually, I think it would be better if we went with go into my history here. Let's see, I had it. Yeah, this one. Yeah, Slime Call Radio is the new YouTube channel where she posts a lot of her AI music content. At least they're doing that. They probably don't want to get sued. Unfortunately, it happens where if the numbers are small, not much attention is paid. True. It is kind of a numbers game at the end of the day. Yeah. It's an uphill trial, but we do what we can. Yeah. Don't always need a reason to want to help someone, or at least show empathy towards someone down in their luck. Yeah. I always wondered what happened to Johnny, but it seems like he bounced back and he's doing quite well. Bit of a tangent, but I don't live in Rhode Island. Bit of a Brandon Herrera situation over here with Gothics. I'd put it in stream suggestions. Did you? Let me look over there. We put things all the time in stream suggestions, and then I kind of forget about all of that.